Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Roborock Q5 Pro Plus. I did receive this vacuum cleaner sample directly from Roborock, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this vacuum or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. You can see some key features right here. DuoRoller brush, 5500 PA suction, extra large dustbin. It also self-empties, has precision navigation, and custom cleaning options. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of user guide and manual, safety guidelines and certifications, a quick start guide. Next, you'll see we have some of our water tank filter components here. So be sure to find that in your box so you don't dispose of it by accident. Next, you'll see we have our water tank and mopping pad module with our pad already installed. Then you'll find one included power cord. We have one extra filter for the self-emptying dustbin. You'll see the dustbin here, it is in two pieces and we will have to assemble it here in just a minute. And then lastly, we have the vacuum. Let's look at that in more detail. Looking at the vacuum up close, you'll see at the top 3 control buttons, Roborock's logo and branding. Nice pattern here too. I like the design and aesthetic that they chose for this one. Definitely has a premium feel to it, more unique on the market than just your boring old vacuum tops. We got our Roborock app QR code there front and center. You'll notice this lever on the back, we can press that to reveal the dustbin. Removable, replaceable filter. If we ever need to manually empty it, we can still do it this way. So not bad. You'll see where the contents get sucked in here and sucked out right from the self-empty base. Now we'll move around, we'll look at the side. You'll see our navigational bumper here, sensors there, sensors in the front. Here's a look at the other side, some additional exhaust and venting there. Now we'll look at it from the very bottom. You'll see 2 spring-loaded drive wheels, side cleaning brush, omnidirectional wheel, charging contacts. We have our cliff sensors there. Here's our DuoRoller system. So pay attention to that 2-roller design. And you'll notice this is able to flex and give both left and right and up and down depending on how even, or I should say uneven, your floor is. So it's able to compensate there for you, giving you that nice tight seal and suction as it's moving along. Down at the bottom, this is where we can attach the mopping module. Just line it up and slide it into place. It'll snap right in. Then you can just press to release the module on the side to easily refill and clean as needed. Now we're looking at the self-empty station. It is in 2 pieces. We will have to attach them together. Here's a look at the bottom of the base station here. It's going to drive up here and empty right through this channel. Flip it over to the back side, you'll see that that channel is clear and see-through, so if we ever have any debris obstructions in there, we will be able to easily identify and remove this cover as needed for cleaning. Pre-installed screws to use to attach this base plate to our top piece there. Also, nice grip feet all throughout, so it's going to rest firmly in place. Then looking at the second half of the unit up at the top, we have this nice handle here that we can pull to remove to easily swap out our vacuum bag as needed once it's full. We have instructions there. This is the second bag that's included, so we get one installed and one extra one. Here's a look inside that cap. I like this handle and design. Just looks premium to me. We'll look at it now from the front. You'll see Roborock's logo and branding, indicator light, sensors for the vacuum. Here's our charging contacts. They'll fit right there on the base unit. Here's a look at the bottom with all of our screw holes so we can get everything properly attached. And then you'll look at it from the back side here. Additional product info, built-in cable management and storage. Here's our power plug on the side. I really like how they're always thoughtful and mindful of cable management. Nice side profile there. Here's a look at the other side with some of our exhaust and venting there. Now let's go ahead, let's get these connected. All right, now we have everything attached together. Our 6 screws are all fastened firmly in place. If you didn't notice it already, they do include a screwdriver for you, and we have that built-in storage there. Very clever and nice of them. So we always have that nearby if we ever need it, not only for installation, but also to maintain and clean that channel if anything ever gets clogged. So there's a look at the base fully set up and installed. Alright, so we just finished our first clean and mop. Let's take a look at the results. First, I wanted to empty out the contents of the dustbin for you to see. So we'll just dump those out here. Take a look. It collects a lot of pet hair. We vacuumed up quite a bit of hair. And you'll see a lot of crumbs, really fine dirt and dust particles, things like that. This dustbin is very, very large, which is nice. Along those lines, though, I did want to point out something super interesting. So typically, I will intercept these before they go back to their charging base, or I'll let them go back to the charging base and I'll remove the vacuum bag. Well, in this case, I removed the vacuum bag and let it go back home once it finished cleaning, and it still activated the self-empty. Now, I don't really know how or why, because if you look in there, you'll see there are some crumbs particles, even though this was shut. So I'm not really sure what was going on, but it did try to self-empty. Usually you just get an error saying clogged, full, bag removed, things like that. But it didn't suck any of the contents out necessarily because you still saw it in the dustbin. But we did get some debris in this channel still. So I'm not really sure what was going on there, but you also notice, maybe you can see down here, some of the dirt and dust that did still get sucked up, even though there was no bag in it. Never seen that before, not really sure what it is because it didn't fully empty it or anything, but it was still trying to, and I guess it was able to get some little particles through there. I don't know, super unusual, so just make sure you're using your bag. Obviously you will be, but I did want to point that out. Now let's look at the bottom. Let's see that DuoRoller system. Looks great. Not seeing any tangles there. Love that. And we vacuumed up quite a bit of hair. A couple of threads here or there, but nothing tangled on the roller. I'd expect that to look even better once it actually does a correct self-empty there. As for the mop pad, slight discoloration. So you will want to rinse that off after every use, or maybe every other use, and just stay up to date on keeping that clean. Also, you'll see we have less than half of our water tank left after just one pass. So if you're lucky, depending on the size of the area you're trying to clean, you might be able to get 2 cleans out of this, but at least a solid 1. Now it's time to take a look at the Roborock app. So in the app, choose your device. So we're going to select it right there. We're taken to a nice image of our map and our previous clean. Look at those row by row cleans. Super logical, methodical. Does a really good job. We had a lot of objects and obstacles here. It did drive up on my kids' toys a couple of times. I did have to place it back down and press the power button again. So make sure you're tidying up your house with this vacuum cleaner. If you do, it'll look just like this and you'll have a great cleaning experience. Those dotted lines, that was from the quick mapping. So it took like 5 minutes, made a quick map, came back home, then I had it do a full clean. No issues there, covered everything as you would expect. You'll see up at the top the runtime, battery level, and cleaning area. In the top right-hand corner, those 3 dots, we have all of our device settings where we can manage our map. Multi-level mapping, all of that, we can support those right here. Then you'll see we can set schedules. So I wanted to show you this really quick. Choose the day of the week, the time, what cleaning mode do you want, general or customized settings, adjust your suction power, cleaning area, choose your rooms, you get the idea. Then we have our floor cleaning settings. This is nice if you want it to clean along the direction of your floor. You can toggle that on. We have our auto empty settings. So smart, light, balanced, or max. A couple different options to customize there. We can adjust the voice. We also have robot settings here if you want to disable the button lights, turn on carpet boost, turn on child lock, do not disturb mode. I really like this feature, off-peak charging. That might appeal to a lot of you. A lot of other RoboVacs don't have that functionality. Offline map, and then we have our units right there. Then you'll see pin and go settings here if you want to do that, or just go to a spot clean. We also have remote control. So you'll see with the remote control settings here, you can use a joystick or buttons, also initiate a spot clean or have it return back home to the dock. We can view our cleaning history here. Take a look. Nice breakdown in the map there. Date and time. We'll go back out. We have our maintenance. Gives us a nice breakdown of everything here when it's time to replace as needed. User manual. We have our product info, firmware updates. If we want to share this device with anybody, we also can delete the device. Back up here, you'll notice too with the map on the main screen, we have a couple options here. So we can change our map details. We can also edit our map. So back it up, change the name, delete it, set our no-go zones. If you want to manage the map here, you could add an invisible wall or no-go zone. Drag and drop, pick and choose. And then just hit the check mark to save. Then we'll go back. You'll notice we can edit our rooms. We can edit the furniture and we can change the surfaces. If you want to add a threshold, you can do that. There's your different floor types. So very customizable. You can really build your map out. Then you'll notice we have our full room and zone cleaning options. That's why it's important to build your map out, set your rooms and all of that. You'll see this little kind of infinity icon-ish thing. Customized room cleaning settings are automatically applied. We can edit those right there. Then we can go back into it. We'll look at the map again. If we hit that button again, we just have our general settings. Different suction power levels. And then we have a max plus. We can toggle on standard route for cleaning. Or we can do a fast. This is going to be for better efficiency. Just adjust the routine. So you'll see that it might skip some certain spots. Just a quick clean there, right? So I like to leave it on standard, but it's nice to have that option. Maybe if you're in a pinch and you don't have 50 minutes, you can let that run. Then we can hit clean or dock. We're all set right down there. So easy to use and control within the app. So where does the Q5 Pro Plus stack up against the competition? We'll be comparing it not only to itself, but the average of the RoboVac units that we've reviewed. We have 5 samples currently in our database right now. And then we'll be comparing it to the overall average of the 40 plus RoboVacs across all different price points and feature sets. So first up, we're looking at max suction power measured in PAs. This has 5,500 PA of suction power. Typically, the higher, the better, because that's going to mean you're going to get a deeper and more thorough clean. Not always, that's not always the case, but usually that's what you want to see. Roborock as a brand overall, we're showing 5,100 PA, so this is above average, and Roborock has always been substantially above the overall general average of, you're seeing right here, right under 3,700 PAs. Next, let's look at our max CFM. The Q5 Pro Plus has a score of 7.8. That's actually 1 point less than Roborock's average of 8.8, but our sample set's small, and we've reviewed some very high-end Roborock units, so this can be as expected. You'll see even with this particular unit, we're still above the average by good margin. Just like our previous metric, the higher the better here. Usually you'll have a deeper and more thorough clean. So that leaves us with our deep cleaning score. Best score is out of 100. For this test, we embed coffee grounds in the carpet and we let the vacuums clean it up and we measure the before and after results. Q5 Pro Plus came in right at average with a score of 85. That's actually slightly below Roborock's average. Again, we covered some of their very high-end models, but I did have higher expectations for this particular cleaner with that test due to its DuoRoller design. But you'll see with that system, at least in our deep cleaning test, it wasn't any better than the average RoboVac. Moving right along, we're talking about decibels now. The higher the value, the louder your vacuum is. We test this on carpet with maximum suction settings. You'll see we got a score of 72 decibels, just a couple decibels above Roborock's average, which happens to be the overall robot vacuum average too. So in this case, is it going to be noticeably louder? The answer is no. It's really hard. Most people, I wouldn't be able to tell a 69 decibel RoboVac versus a 72 decibel RoboVac. You will hear this vacuum while it's cleaning, but that's also on the loudest suction setting, so keep that in mind. It can definitely be quieter if you want to use a different, you guessed it, suction setting. Now we're looking at battery life. This is measured in minutes. The Q5 Pro Plus has one of the largest advertised battery lives that we've ever seen at 240 minutes. Their overall brand average is 193, and again, that's shocking because we've recovered some of their higher end vacuums like what you're even seeing maybe even on display behind me here. That's coming in at 193, which is already a fantastic average for vacuum. You'll see this is 100 minutes, okay, technically 95 minutes more on average for our runtime with this vacuum than your typical RoboVac. A lot of that has to do with the juice of the battery, and in this case, Roborock has really large battery capacities measured in milliamp hours. This one's just in line with their other vacuums, 5200 milliamp hours. That's going to be 2000 milliamp hours greater than your typical RoboVac. Next, we have our vacuum height. This is measured in inches. 3.8 is basically the standard out there for any unit that's equipped with LiDAR navigation. They all share that same form factor and design. You'll see that our overall average is slightly lower because we cover quite a few models from iRobot that doesn't have LiDAR navigation and some very budget-friendly vacuums that also don't have it, so they can be a little bit shorter in height. Next, we have our bin capacity measured in milliliters. This has one of the largest bin capacities we've ever seen in a vacuum, specifically a model that supports a self-empty base. Usually when it has a self-empty base, you have a smaller bin capacity because it doesn't need to have that large of a bin since it can go back home and empty itself. But in this case, we get the best of both worlds, which is not normal. So it's great to see, especially if you want to get this model without the self-empty base, you'll be making less and fewer trips to the trash can. Next, we have our water tank capacity measured in milliliters. This comes in at 180 milliliters for its capacity. It's actually below the Roborock brand average of 192. And a pretty good margin below the overall average. And this gets a little tricky here too, because typically with a unit like this that doesn't refill its water tank, you tend to find larger capacity tanks on them. So you're seeing here though, with this particular one, we're below average for both the brand overall and for our vacuums just in general. Interesting to see, especially because our dustbin is so large. Maybe they could take some space from the dustbin in the future and give us an increased capacity for the water tank. So lastly, let's talk about the cost of this vacuum. We'll compare it within Roborock sample, but again, that skews high due to the premium versions that we've been able to cover here. I'd say within Roborock's lineup, this has a moderate price point. It's going to be more expensive due to the fact that it has the self-empty base. So if you can live without that and just take advantage of that large dustbin, you can save a couple $100 there. Compared to all vacuums we've tested, you'll see it's a couple $100 more, but it does include a self-empty base, LiDAR navigation, mopping module, and we have that DuoRoller design. So there's just some things you have to factor in for yourself. Is it worth it? So now let me share with you my final thoughts in regards to the Roborock Q5 Pro Plus. This vacuum cleaner has a lot of great features we've come to expect and love in vacuums today. Self-empty base is huge, definitely a must-have. LiDAR navigation with multi-level mapping. We have our carpet boost technology. We have our Max Plus deep cleaning. This has the DuoRoller design. It's great to see that trickle down to a unit like this, not just reserved for your high-end top-of-the-line models. Also, that DuoRoller design's great if you have a lot of hair around your house. Typically, you'll find with your RoboVacs, they get tangled in the brush. You'll experience less tangles with a vacuum like this. Maybe even depending on your floor type and how dirty your environment is, you might see even a better clean than your traditional single roller vacuum, but that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Also, I want to point out within the Roborock app, they do a great job giving us some key features that just is unique on the market from some of the competition, like off-peak charging. Love that we have that feature there. But there are a couple things I'd like to see improve with this model. I feel like there's two big misses with this particular model. The first thing is no advanced AI or object obstacle recognition. I really was hoping to have some of those sensors on the front. We don't have to have a full camera to give us like the security view and take photos and videos, but to have better cord and object and pet waste recognition, that would be nice to have that built into this unit. I feel like with what they're capable of doing, that should have been on this particular model. The second thing is that while this does have a mop on it, the mopping attachment that you can use, it does not have any app control. I found that super unusual. So typically what you get with the mopping module is the ability to adjust the water flow, but in this case we have none of that. So from my experience, it appears this is just a gravity drip fed unit with no tech in it whatsoever, so there's nothing for the app to do. But usually you have the option for a lot of models like this around this price point that give us that ability. So I'd like to see in the future this come out with better AI and object recognition because it doesn't have any, and I'd like to see some mopping controls integrating with that mopping module.